Guys, it's Vanity Ezel, back in with another Card Fight Vanguard weekly reveals Ezel on the Vanity. So if you guys enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. Let's get this one started. Today, we have a lot of reveals, just like last week. We got some of the clan selection stuff for Daihausen, Dudley's, Bermuda's. We have Morokumo, who I don't remember the name of. We also have Bladewing Lazy, and we got what I think is another ride line for Bermuda. I mean, not for Bermuda's, for Lyrical, and maybe another ride line that I wasn't paying attention to. So let's go ahead and get all of these reveals started. First up, we have Enchanted Smile Teslia, auto AK base, 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto when placed on rear from hand if you have 3 or more rear guards, counterblast 1 to draw a card. That's really good, especially when you consider the trial deck as the ability to bounce and then call them right back. So being able to place that from hand during the battle phase and just get a draw out of it when you don't really use that much counterblast in that trial deck, I say this is a really good card for that type of style. So 3 of or 4 of. Next up, we have Refreshing Prince Harriet. 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Continues rear during your turn. If you have 2 or more cards in your order zone, it gets +5. So clearly this is meant for the song deck, obviously, but you could also use it in any other deck because there are other set orders in this. So I'd say he's an okay card depending on what style you're trying to build. If you're trying to go for the song, maybe 2 of or 3 of. If you're trying to go for something else, 2 of max. Next we have Scrambling Spirit Selma, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto rear, when it boosts a Vanguard, draw a card, discard 1. So it's automatic that you have to draw, which could suck because that could cause you to deck out. But you're getting a draw and you're getting to replace a hand card, so I say it's a good trade-off. 3 of, you don't want to see this too many of it because you might end up decking yourself out, obviously, but still, that's really good. And then we have, I didn't think this was really early on in the reveals. I did do the reveals myself, but I didn't think it'd be this early on. Apparently, Hausen was early on in the reveals, and Hausen was the one I was looking forward the most to, and it came, so I'm really happy. So let's go ahead and get him started with Martial Artist of Swift Judgement Hausen. 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto, when placed on van, look at top 7, add up to 1 grade 2 or greater Hausen from among them to your hand, shuffle the remaining cards back into your deck. Auto rear, at the end of the battle that attacked or boosted, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, bounce it to hand. This action is mandatory. Okay, so that actually is important. I'm pretty sure it was mandatory anyways because it's not a free... because it's a free skill. If you don't know, if a skill is free, I'm pretty sure that requires it to be mandatory. If it doesn't have a cost, that is what I'm trying to say here. So maybe they put that on there because that's not necessarily the case, or they did put that on there because a lot of people forget that, because I know when I'm just casually playing with my friends, sometimes we do forget that if it doesn't have a cost, it is more or less mandatory. That is the actual rule. So, but either way, that's a really good ability. That grade, the ability to get a grade 2 or greater Hausen of the ride line is just really helpful. That saved me a lot in the time playing that I played it. Literally the day this came out, I spent my entire day building Hausen, building all the decks from V, which I wasn't planning on building until after all the stuff came, and then I just played with them. So this grade 1, a good card in my book. Next up, we have Master Assortment of Successive Victory Hausen, 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto Vanner rear, when it attacks a Vanguard, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and bounce it to hand. If your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 2 or greater, gets +10 for the battle. It is mandatory. So I'm pretty sure you don't have to bounce to get the +10. I don't think you have to bounce, because it doesn't have a then clause. So I'm pretty sure you just swing +10 if they're a grade 2 or greater, which is still nice. I mean, regardless, you're bouncing a rear guard, so that's helpful. I like that 19. And then the other skill, which killed my friend yesterday because he had the balls to use a mirror match against me, or time I'm recording this, it was yesterday, or this half of the video was yesterday. The point is, my friend had the balls to challenge my Hausen deck with his own Hausen deck, which is the same deck, just different player, and I one-shot him because of this skill. So, auto, when ridden by a grade 3, if your opponent has 3 or more rear guards, choose one of your vanguards and it gets +1 crit and +1 drive. On my first grade 3 turn, triple critical, technically quad critical once we get into the quad drive, and quad drive basically with 27 power, and he went for a 2 to pass. That was the worst mistake of his life. And as just a small note to that, if you're playing a mirror match against Hausen, never call 3 rear guards because it will come back to bite you in the ass, considering what it did to him. So nice grade 2, amazing card, 4 of. And finally, our grade 3 that I love with all my heart and soul, Undefeated Sword Saint Daihausen. 12k base, grade 3, twin drive, protect gift, auto van, when it attacks a Vanguard, counterblast 1, soul blast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and bounce it to their hand. If you return a unit until end of battle, this unit gets +5k power and +1 drive. So automatically, if you get a return, it's a 5k and a drive. So 17 triple drive, that's amazing. And then if their Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater and they have 1 or less rear guards, it gets plus 10 in a crit. So 27 double crit, triple drive, combined with this thing, that is 27 triple crit, quad drive. So really nice to have with Daihausen there. He does work. And then the other skill, which is annoying to deal with, Auto Van, during your opponent's turn, when their normal unit is placed on rear, it can be from anywhere. This is why I love playing against decks that superior call with this, because this forces, even if they're calling from deck, it still screws them over unless it's a non-normal unit, which would require it to be a trigger or an order. If they have 4 or more cards in hand, they must discard 1. I love that. I don't know why it says from your hand, it's supposed to be from their hand. I love that skill. It fucks their hand up. It's amazing. I love it. Amazing grade 3, one of my favorites. In fact, I think this is one of my top 5 favorite decks now. Sorry about that, my throat's just really dry. Next up is Frustrated Talent Henrietta. 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept, auto rear. When this unit is boosted, Soul Blast 1 until end of battle. Increase this unit's power by the shield of the unit boosting. Okay, so I like that. Not always are, plus especially with that grade 1 everyone spams, where when you place it, Soul Blast 1, you look at the top card, you can either add it to hand or call it, and if you add it to hand, you discard 1. I like this in the sense that not always, especially because that card's really good, so obviously you're going to run it, but you're not always going to get the unit you want. You might end up getting a trigger, and you might not want to discard for it. So what you could do is you could easily just set it up by calling down that trigger, have this unit be boosted by it, and despite the fact it's a trigger, 5 plus 10, that's 15, and then use the skill to get that unit shield. So, you know, that's a 40k power right there. Actually, sorry, I'm wrong about that. That's 30k power, which is really good for a grade 2 that can do that on grade 2 rush. But not only that, if by ungodly, I guess, chance that you see your overtrigger, which would suck, especially considering what this deck's overtrigger does, you can call it, because the overtriggers have 50k shield, except for one of them. I'm pretty sure one of them doesn't have a 50k shield. So you just call down the overtrigger, you boost it, so you know, it's just still 15, but then plus 50. Yeah, this thing's amazing, and then the overtrigger being just a 5k base vanilla now, has target power. So I like this thing. This thing's actually really good. It can work in any of the decks as long as you have enough soul for it. So I say 2 or 3. It's really nice. Next up, we have Face and Overcome. Grade 0 order. Blitz order, sorry. You may play this if your Vanguard is Archangel of Twin Wings Celestial. Yeah. And by the way, I think this is the first grade 0 order we have besides the Quick Shield. So I like this. I mean, there might be one more somewhere in V, but I'm not so sure. I know this is the first one to overdress, so I know that for sure. Whether in general, not counting the Quick Shield or not, I'm not so sure, but I know this is the first one in overdress. Choose one of your units that is being attacked until end of battle. It gets plus 5 for each of your rear guards with an odd grade. Until end of turn, if your even grade unit is retired from rear guard circle, shove to soul. So, pretty much a way to soul charge. I don't know why when the grade 3, I don't think the grade 3 makes you lose any form of soul. If it doesn't, I don't know. But like, I'm pretty sure the grade 3 is just free, and it depends on what's in your bind zone. So that's actually really good, just being able to recycle units back into soul and give that plus 5 for each rear guard. So, or for each odd number rear guard, sorry. So amazing card. I say 2 of, 3 of, not more than that. No, 4 of. 4 of is too much. Next up, we have Heavenly Recital Emiel. 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Black Wings, auto rear. At the end of the battle that it boosted, choose one of your rear guards or a card in your soul and return it to hand. If you return from your soul, put this unit to soul. Okay, I'll take that, because there's a unit where Counterblast 1, I believe you either shove it to soul, I don't know what you do with it, I don't remember at all, but it basically gives one of your units in your bind zone plus 1 grade, allowing for black or odd even wings to happen, black or white wings to happen. So the fact that you can shove it to soul or like get it out of the soul with this thing, so I like this. It's really nice. This is amazing grade 2. I'll take it at like 3 or 4 depending on what your other ratios are. On to Dudleys, who I have a slight hatred against, but we'll get to that later. I mean, I don't hate these Dudleys. I hate one Dudley in particular. Dudley Daisy, 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto, when placed on rear by an ability of your card with Dudley in its card name. Soul Blast 1, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 Dudley in its card name. Call to an open rear guard circle and shuffle your deck. At the end of the turn, put this unit and the unit called to the bottom of your deck in any order. Fuck, we forgot to do that. God damn it. I'm now flashbacking to test games, and me and my friend, when we were playing Dudleys versus Daihausen, forgot to do that. Well, it doesn't matter. That's still a good ability regardless, because, you know, if you... I'm not going to spoil what the new Dudley does, but let's just talk about Dudley Lucifer. Dudley Lucifer could automatically bring this thing out, and then you can bring out another Dudley Lucifer, kind of bringing down a column, or even if you don't bring down a column, because it doesn't have to call it to the same column, you can just call this to one row with a force gift, and you can call the Lucifer to another gift, so then, or just another column in general. And then you got 2 more attacks. So simply by placing this thing, if you have another open rearguard circle, you can just use this. So I like Daisy. It's a really nice card. 4 of. Next up, we have Dudley Mason, 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto with rearguard. When this unit's attack hits, if you have a Vanguard Dudley in its card name, counterblast 1 and put it to bottom of the deck. Choose a non-grade 2 Dudley from your hand and call it to rear. Yeah, standard old Dudleys. You got to pick something that isn't of their grade, but that is still really good, because you can kind of rush from the hand and your opponent won't really expect it to some extent. And then auto during your turn, when it's put into your deck from your rear guard, choose one of your units and move all force markers to that unit's circle. Okay. Dudleys in V do not have a way of sending stuff to bottom. Until now. Demonic Lord, Dudley Emperor. Grade 3, Twin Drive. Imaginary gift force. I don't know why the fuck I was about to say protect. 13k base. Auto when it attacks while in van or when ridden on. Counterblast 1. Search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 or greater Dudley. Call it to an open rearguard circle and shuffle your deck. And until end of turn, it gets plus 10k power. So unfortunately, you cannot call Daisy with this, but that's fine, because you can use this to call Davy. If you remember what Davy does, he's an odd place. Counterblast 1, search your deck for any non-grade 2 Dudley and call it to rear. Then use Daisy's skill to bring out another unit, and then boom. If you had 2 open front or rear guard circles, you basically just got 3 units for free and 2 more attacks out of this. Now, that's really good to have, but you may be wondering, wait, well, also, I like that ability just where it activates when written on 2, so you don't always have to stay on it, and even if you do stay on it, you can just ride on top of it, get a force gift, then do it again. That's why I like Spinal Driver so much, and I like this for it too. Anyways, back to what I was saying, but you might be saying, wait, how are you supposed to send Dudleys to the bottom when I don't think Spike Brothers actually do it in V yet? Or I think this is the only card that actually does it in V. Well, here's what Emperor does for a second ability. Auto, van, or rear. Yes, this will stack, which is the most annoying part about this. When your rear guard attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Dudley in its card name, to end of battle, it gets plus 5. At the end of the battle, put that unit to bottom. Okay, your Vanguard has to have Dudley in its card name, which means you can't use this with Rising because Rising won't clone the name, but not the rear guard, which means you can use this in any rear guard and it will be swinging for plus 5. Which is automatically nice, but it's an auto ability. You don't have a choice, so it's going to go to bottom at the end of it. But who cares? Because if you combo this with Daisy and Davy, you know, you get 2 more rear attacks out of this, so who really cares? And if you have 2 of these on the board, then it's plus 10. Yeah, it's just plus 10. It's just really good. You might want to just maybe put 1 in the back row, somewhere where it's not going to be used, maybe back center, because I don't think the Vanguard attack matters, because they're going to guard it anyways. I think you want to force out the rear guards, so, you know, maybe put 2 in the same column, and then just fucking kill them. Yeah, Dudley Emperor, amazing, grade 3, awesome, 4 of. Next up is Face of Kindness, Virginia. 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto rear at the end of the battle that it boosted. If you played in order this turn, shove it to soul, countercharge 1. Okay, so pretty much doesn't matter if it hits or not. If you played in order, countercharge, and you get a soul out of it. Really nice card if you're playing like an order-based deck. 4 of. Next up, we have Mystical Voice Renetta. 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto when placed on rear, choose up to 2 precious gem cards with the same name from your drop zone. Put 1 on the bottom of the deck and put the other into soul. When I first looked at this, I thought, did I miss something? Did I not realize that we had a precious gem line? Turns out we do. It just came along later than this card was revealed, so I don't know why I was confused. But either way, it's a good ability for precious gems do, and we'll figure out what those do later. Next up, we have After School Mini Live Katina. 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto when it's placed on rear, soul blast 1, discard 1, choose a precious gem card from your drop zone, and return it to hand. Really nice for recycling the precious gems. I will tell you what those do later, I swear on it. Next, we have Leisurely Chatting Philomia. 13k base, grade 3, twin drive Persona Ride. Auto when placed on rear, you may play 1 additional order this turn. You can play an additional order for each time you use this ability. Okay. So, if you have like 4 of these in hand, you could technically play 5 orders in one go. And if you found a way to bounce them during the main phase, yes, you could technically also do that. Not to mention that if you somehow called this during the opponent's turn, here's what you do. You go play premium, go grab Bermuda, shove in all the orders with this, and then just, you know what to do. You know the G-Guard I'm talking about that would allow this to occur. But, you could technically just spam this infinitely and do as many orders as you want. Blitz orders, normal orders, set orders, etc. So in all of the order-based decks, Precious Gems is an order-based deck. I'm telling you right now, the gems are orders. So in Precious Gems and in Songs, and what maybe be the Vampire Girls, I'm not so sure what they do yet, this is an amazing card, because you do it for free, and the only drawback is you have to place it on rear. If you find a way to bounce it, it's just an amazing card. 4 of. There's no 4 of in every order-based deck. This is just amazing. Next up, we have our Bermuda reveals. Reliable Faith Lazarus, 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Continues rear guard. If you have 2 or more force markers on your circle, gets plus 5k power and shield. So 15 shield and 13k power. Really nice with just 2 or more force markers. And Anj can do that easily. I'm gonna say this right now. I have tested Bermudas. I do run Anj as my backup grade 3. I have yet to had reason to use Anj because the other grade 3 is so fucking good, but Anj is my backup because Anj can do a lot with what I've set up with it. And then continuous rear, if you have 3 or more force markers, it can intercept from the back row. So it can also gain intercept, by the way, which is really nice. We'll get to why the force markers are important later, because Anj can only get 2 at most on the first grade 3 turn. This card, Miracle Cycle out Lochi, 14k base, grade 4, twin drive, force gift, auto van, once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked. Choose 3 normal units from your rear and drop zone. Each from your rear and drop zone. So you have to use 3 in total, 3 from each of them, so 6 in total. If 6 or more cards with different name were chosen, this is a Highlander card, stand it and put the chosen cards on the bottom of the deck. Okay, I do run this in my own personal build of this deck, but I don't use it in the sense that the only 2 times I've played it, I haven't been able to draw. I drew into it once, but there was no reason to go into it because I didn't have the required 6 cards in drop or on field. And the other time, both copies ended up in drop by one ended up in damage by healing, then I used the other one as PG fodder when I thought I would need to. So yeah, Outlochi, it's a good card because you got a free stand out of it, but like I just never had the chance to use it. But I run it at 2. And now we have our new grade 3, which I hated because of the way it looked, but then the second I read the ability, I got over all of it, shoved it together with Anj, the only reason why I even main Bermudas in the first place, and then I have an ungodlike deck that has a no-loss win record, so have a no-loss multiple win-win record so far, so yeah. I mean, 2 wins isn't really much to go off of, but then like, when it's a deck you've never used before compared to someone who used a deck their entire or most of their time of playing Vanguard followed by them using that deck, I think it's clear to say, like, you know, maybe the deck might be a bit too good. Either that or I'm a really good card player, but I doubt the second one, so it's probably the first. Anyways, Single Quiet Refarde, that is not its name, but I don't care. 13k base, grade 3, twin drive, force gift. Act, van, once per turn, counterblast 1, discard 1. Rest this unit and do the following. So you do have to pay 3 different costs for it, and you must rest the Vanguard, but here's what you get out of it. If you have 4 or less markers, get 2 forces. So automatically, first grade 3 turn, regardless of what grade your opponent's Vanguard is at, you have 3 gifts. If you have 1 counterblast, 1 hand card at the very least, and this thing, you got 3 gifts. And, you know, it just has 4 or less, which means you can ride this again on your next turn. You'll have 4 gifts, use its skill, you got 6 gifts. Really nice. 6 gifts on grade 2, on your second grade 3 turn. That's amazing. And then look at top cards equal to the number of rear guard circles with force gifts on them. So automatically, first turn, that's 3. After that, it's probably going to be 5. I'll reveal all of them and add them all to hand and activate all triggers that were among them and count them as if they were drive checked. Okay, so that's Tsukuyomi cards from last week. If that was here, we could take a bloody advantage of that in the sense that that would just be an extra trigger that we could use. But unfortunately we can't, but that's still an amazing card. I love that. And then it has another ability, Continuous Van. If your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, all your grade 2 or lower rear guards with force markers on them can attack from the back row. So, yeah, you can just get 5 attacks in a turn. That trigger stuff, it does a lot, and you just fill up the hand. I remember, it was the first time in a while that me and my friend have played V, and I had just had so many fucking hand cards because of this thing. I love this thing. 4 of, amazing. Next up, we have Ernie Scott Correct Supporter Reno. Riona, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost, auto rear. When your other rear guard with the Esser correct is retired during your opponent's turn. If this unit's on rear, Soul Blast 1, discard a card, return those units to the hand. So if they're doing like something like Eugene or like multiple sacking of destroying of rear guards, you can bounce it back to hand unless those things killed with it. So it's nice that like they have to waste one target fodder on this guy, girl. So I say it's a good card with if you're trying to keep your rear guards alive. I say 2 or 3. Next up we have Earn Ease Correct Supporter Trebley. 5k base, grade 1, 5k shield with boost, auto rear. When your Vanguard's attack hits, until end of turn it gets +5. Okay, it's a 10k power. I don't find that good because like that's an on-hit requirement for the Vanguard, and a lot of times I feel like people are gonna PG the Vanguard. So like, yeah, if it hits, it gets +5. But from I've seen by Vanguard games, normally when the attack hits, that's probably a declaration you've won this game on the same turn, or if not, you're going to win next turn, and you don't want to waste your time on small numbers like this. If you're building a budget deck, yeah, and I'm probably going to have to put this in my deck, but I would do everything in my power not to, but I just don't like this thing. If you're really going to run it, I say 2 over 3 of, but I don't see why. Next up, we have a Blitz order in Vibrant Symphony. Grade 2, if your Vanguard was hit this turn, choose one of your units being attacked, and it gets +30k to end of battle. Okay, so if you're playing this with this card in it, and you're also using the Bermuda G guard in Premium, then you can use this 4 times, and your opponent probably ain't killing you that turn. That's great, but in just Overdress, that's still good because that's a 30k guard, and you only have to take 1 attack. I wouldn't say put this at 4 because there's a chance you might be pushed to 5 damage and then you wouldn't be able to use it afterwards. I say 2 or 3, not 1. 2 is maybe too small, 3 is maybe too much. It's honestly up to your style of how many spaces you have left, but I say that's a really good Blitz order. And then we have our Murakumo reveals, which didn't have any grade 1s, strangely. Stealth Fiend Lady Silhouette, grade 2 with Intercept and 5k shield, 9k base. Auto, when it's placed on Vanner rear from hand, counterblast 1 and reveal a grade 2 or less unit from hand. Search your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as the revealed. For this cost, call it to rear and shuffle your deck. Okay, if they ever make a card that just says, don't pay the cost of your skills for some reason, like how they did in Buddy Fight, with that really fucking broken card that did a lot, but this would be unusable because you have to reveal a card a part of its cost. But either way, it's still nice that you can kind of just, get an extra call out of it. And then auto rear, when this unit attack did not hit, put it at the bottom of the deck, choose one of your opponent's rear guards at the bottom. So pretty much both go to hell. And unless their deck can do searching, they can't get it back. When in exchange, you could just call a second copy of this thing, use its ability, reveal a copy of it from hand, and then just call down the same thing. So, yeah. And then, oh yeah, I forgot, it says it has to be placed from hand, because I was going to say you could probably loop that too, but no, you can't. Either way, that's a really good grade 2, 4 copies. Next up, we have Stealth Fiend Flight Sickle, 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with Intercept. Auto rear when it attacks, you may have this unit get +5 for the battle, so 14k swing. And if you do at the end of the battle, put it to bottom. And if it was placed by a card ability this turn, draw a card. So 14k swing, not that much. And if it was placed by an ability, what your grade 3 is gonna do, draw a card. So I like this card, really nice. You do it for free, 3 or 4. And now to our main grade 3, whose skill I more or less called to a T. I got half of the skill right. Literally, if you can see my cursor, this part right here is where I got it right, word for word. Yesterday, I was joking around with my friends saying, oh, yeah, hey, it's probably going to do that. And I was joking, but I guess it makes sense. It was the logical way to go about it, but I didn't think it would actually happen. 12k base, grade 3, Twin Drive, Imaginary Gift Excel, Stealth Fiend Lord Nero Hyogo. Act Vanguard once per turn, counterblast 1, look at top 5, search for up to 1 Stealth Fiend from among them, call it to rear and shuffle your deck. If your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater until end of turn, for every 2 Stealth Fiends rear guards you have with different names, it gets +1 drive. Okay, that's nice, but they have to have different names, which is questionable. I don't know why. That's the only part about this thing's skill I hate, because if it wasn't for that, I'd say this is an amazing card. because you don't have to like have different names. But then again, I guess it'd be too easy just to spam the field, but now it's even harder. I don't know how many stealth fiends there actually are in Murakumo, so maybe it's not that hard. Who knows? And then auto van, when your drag check reveals a unit card, if it is a stealth fiend normal unit, call it to rear, and until end of turn it gets plus 10. If it's not, put it to drop. So get an extra rear guard, make it be able to hit something unless they see a trigger, and yeah, pretty good. And it doesn't have to be an open rear guard, so that is a way just to get more attacks. So I like this card. Really nice. Amazing grade 3. The only thing I dislike about it is like the different card names, but otherwise I say it's good. Maybe, I don't know. And now we have our Gemstone cards. Brilliant Gemstone Ballista, 6k base, 5k shield, grade 0 with boost. Auto when wrote upon if you win second draw. Nothing special about it. Next up we have Proof of Effort Ballista. Auto when written on. You may put a card from hand into soul, search your deck for up to one precious gem card, add it to hand and shuffle your deck. So pretty much search for an order, which is really nice. I like how Lyrical has taken almost one aspect from every deck so far. It has taken Prison's aspect and it has taken Orphis aspect, I guess, kind of-ish. It has taken the set order aspect of Brankgate in general, and then it just took the aspect of spamming orders. I don't know who else spams orders, but this is one of them. And then auto rear, when you played an order, Soul Blast 1, it gets plus 5 for the turn. Why couldn't all the other ride lines be like this? Or instead of like just plus 2 randomly, why not give it something like this? Or like what Barrel Magnus have? Or anything else? Why the fuck do the main deck ride lines have to be so shit? Sorry, I lost my cool there. Point is, I like that ability. It's really nice, especially with the amount of soul charging you do, and it's an 8k base vanilla. So otherwise, I like this card. Amazing card. This actually has reasons to be ran in the main deck. Next up, we have Expanding the World Relista, grade 2, intercept, 5k shield, grade 10k power. Auto van, once per turn, when you play a precious gem, draw a card. So play an order, draw a card. Okay, fair enough. Continuous guard circle, for every 2 precious gem cards in your drop zone, gets plus 5k shield. So that can be a lot really quickly. So that's a really nice card to have. That is something you want in the main deck. Why is it now they're giving us ride lines that can be put in the main deck? Why not in set 1 or set 2? Next up, we have True-Hearted Ruby, our first gemstone, grade 0 order, normal order. Play it by counterblasting 1, draw 2, choose a card from hand, discard it, and put this order into soul. So, pretty much, play this on Ballista, you draw 3, and you drop 1. And then this goes to soul. I like that. Really nice order, 4 of. And then Quiet Charity Elviva, 8k base, grade 1, boost, 5k shield, auto rear. When you play Everlasting Sapphire, if your Vanguard's a grade 3 Ballista, draw a card. So when you play a specific order, draw a card. Interesting, and it's for free, and it's not once per turn. So if you combine it with that other grade 3, that could be spammed. We'll get to what Sapphire is in a second, but first off, Magica Ballista, grade 3, Twin Drift, Persona Ride, 13k base, Act, Van, Soul Blast 1, True-Hearted Ruby. Until end of turn, it gets plus 15, and your opponent cannot intercept. That's for the turn, by the way, so that's just not for its battle. That means they're locked down from intercepting, so if their plan was to intercept you to death, yeah, no, that ain't working. And then Act, Van, Soul Blast 1, Everlasting Sapphire. Look at the top 5, choose up to 2 unit cards, call them to open rear, discard the remaining, and until end of turn, the called units get plus 5. So you could use both of those at the same time, you know, and they're not once per turn either. So if you had multiple of each in soul, your opponent's dead. So, yeah, that's an interesting grade 3. 4 of. You may be wondering what Everlasting Sapphire is. We'll get to that after this one. Deep Affection Outlier. That's not his name. 13k base, grade 3, Twin Jet Persona Ride. Auto rear when you play True-Hearted Ruby. If your Vanguards are Ballista, until end of turn it gets plus 10, and you may play 1 additional order this turn. You can play an additional order for each time you use this effect. So just like the other grade 3, you can spam this if you have multiple of them. Personally, I would say the other grade 3 is better because this only activates if you use True-Hearted Ruby, and you have to be on grade 3 for it to activate, while the other one, technically, you have to be on grade 3 for it to activate as well, but still. So, if you want to use either one, because this gets more power, I can see why you want to use this one, but I would like to use the other one. Either way, way to spam orders. I like it. 4 of if you run it. And our Everlasting Sapphire, normal order, grade 0, choose one of yours, and it gets plus 5 until end of turn, and you put it to soul. So not really special. I think the other one's better, but you know, you just send them to soul, you use this thing's ability, and then you kill them. We have Earnest Scout member Evelyn, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto when it's placed on rear from hand. If your Vanguard is Earnest Scout leader Clarissa, counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 or lower Earnest Scout card and add it to your hand and reveal it. Add it to your hand. If the card doesn't share any of the name of your rear guards, you may call it to an open rear guard circle and shuffle your deck. So, pretty much, You can place it down, search your deck for any card with the same name or similar name to it with the Earn a Scout part, and you can call it to an open rearguard circle, which is just really nice, and you shuffle your deck. So, I mean, either way, you have to shuffle it anyways if you don't add it, because either you call it or you shuffle it back, but that's just a nice way to do something, and maybe like shuffle your deck just because maybe there's an over trigger at the bottom, or maybe you saw what's coming next in your drive check and you're like, oh, I'm not going to get a trigger, let's try to change that. So you shuffle the deck. Either way, I like this card, it's really nice. 4 of. Next up, we have Earn a Scout member Katrin, 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto when it's placed, when the attack of your Earn a Scout leader Clarissa on Van hits, counterblast 1, discard 1, stand it. That's interesting, because now you kind of get like a Vanguard, not a Vanguard stand, sorry. You got a rear guard stand every time the Vanguard hits. So if the Vanguard restands multiple times as well, if it is the Earn a Scout Clarissa leader, that means you kind of just get a restand, which is why I like that a lot. So 4 of. Next up, we have Enthusiastic for Lunch Chantelle, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Act rear once per turn, counterblast 1 ton of turn, it gets plus 5k power. Your Vanguard gets plus 5k, I can't read today. So, you know, it's an okay ability, nothing too special about it, but that 5k is fine, you know. 13k, 18k base Vanguard, or, you know, for an early rush maybe. I like that. It's a bit too simple, but sometimes simplicity works, so I'll take it. 2 of, 3 of, depending on how you're trying to build your deck. And now we have our Dark Irregulars, which is unique in my opinion, but they're good. Bestial Squeezer, 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto when placed on rear, put a normal unit from your drop zone to bottom. You may soul charge 1, act drop zone, bind it, choose one of your rear guards, shove it to soul. Okay, that first ability helps out my friend a lot. He knows who he is, because when we were test playing his Dark Irregulars build, he had one simple strategy in mind, and that was to use Gastille Diamonds on 2 specific units. But every time he tried pulling it off, the 2 units would end up either in hand or damage zone just by regular drawing and damage checks. So he couldn't really use Diamonds. No matter how many times we tried, we couldn't use it. So this actually helps, because now we can send those normal units to bottom, and then Diamonds get activate, and you get a soul charge out of it. And the binding thing, that's very interesting. It says bind this card, so I wonder what they do. Next up, we have Blaze Foresight, 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto when placed on Van or rear, counterblast 1, choose up to 2 trigger units from your hand, put them to soul, and for each card put, you draw 1. So immediately, just by putting 1 card, you get a draw out of it, and then you can just do it again to draw another card. So I like that. He's really nice. 4 of. Nice Dark Regulars card. And now we have Bladewing Lazy, grade 3, twin drive, protect gift, 12k base. Really nice art. I like that angle. Act Vanguard. If your soul has 10 or less cards, soul blast 1, choose a card from your soul and bind it face down. Okay, so lose 2 soul cards. I wonder why that's here in a Dark Regulars deck. Here's why. Continuous Vanguard. These abilities are active based on the number of face down cards in your bind zone. 5 or more gets plus 5. It's active during your opponent's turn as well, so that's a 17k base. 7 or more during your turn, it gets plus 10 in a drive, so 27 with triple drive. And 7 or more, it's the 10 in triple drive. And 10 or more during your turn, it gets plus 10 in an extra crit. 2 crits. So if you're at 10 or more, that is 37 triple critical with triple drive. That's really nice. And then Auto Vanguard, when this unit attacks, if the number of face down cards in your bind zone is 15 or more, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and deals it 2 damage. Now that is good, and that's a separate skill, by the way. So, I mean, not like it really matters, because all of them are activated by the bind zone anyways, but here's my thing with this. I understand why it's like that with the bind zone. I just find it weird that Dark Irregulars is the one that has it. Because let's be fair, when Gastille came out with the 15 soul thing, or 20 soul thing, a lot of people got to 15 soul really easily. And they were bound to give us soul charge in support of Dark Irregulars. So if they gave us just another soul ability, they would have to make his cost so incredibly high that it's somehow even rarer that you pull it off with Ragey. So when they did with the binding thing, I like that. You gotta be strategic, because the second you hit over 10 cards in soul, you're kind of fucked, buddy. But it's really good in the sense that as long as you have 10 or less cards in soul at a continuous rate, you can kind of do a bunch of effects. So I like him. He's actually really good. There are a lot of Dark Irregulars that you can't really put this together with, because they require more and over soul, and if you put them together, you're not going to be able to activate, I guess, Ragey's first skill to kind of get the full benefit of binding a face down card. But if you already had like the setup for it, it wouldn't really matter that much. It just depends. Either way, Ragey is a really good card. 4 of. Bushy did find a good way to fix this. Stealth Fiends were weird, because I forgot to mention this earlier, but their drive check ability is mandatory. So if you don't get a normal unit, it goes straight to drop, which sucks. So while Stealth Fiends were weird, this is a really good card, even if it's looking weird. And finally, we have our Clarissa line. Dignified Will Clarissa, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 0 with boost. Auto when if you on second draw a card, nothing special. Serious Challenger Clarissa, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto when it's placed on van by riding from Dignified Will. Look at top 7. Choose up to 1 grade 1 or less Earnest Scout in its card name from among them. Reveal it, put it to hand, and shuffle the deck. And Continuous Van. During your turn, if you do not have any rear guards, it gets +5. Okay. This deck is the deck this belongs to. If you don't remember, Clarissa's the one that's supposed to call down a bunch of units with the Earnest Scouts. While that doesn't benefit the deck style, I like the way they took this because that means if you're like kind of losing or like you want to do like an early rush or maybe you are just in that like losing situation where your opponent's nuked your board, you can call this down. I just realized it's a Vanguard skill, so never mind. But what I was going to say is you can call it down and gets +5. But you know, the Vanguard skill, that just adds for like a 13k. I say you would probably, especially with the grade 1 we have with the Solo Boss 1 top card thing, I feel like that's more of not a good skill then. If that was a rear guard skill, I would say that's amazing, but it's fine, I guess, for the way it is. Maybe, no, just no in the main deck, because you can't even use it in the main deck. Next up, we have Accurate Interval Clarissa, 10k shield, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept and 10k power. Auto when it's placed on van by riding from Serious Challenger. Solo Boss 1, look at top 7, do the same thing, except it's a grade 2 or less now. And you put it to hand, shuffle your deck. And then Continuous Van during your turn if you have no rear guards, gets +5. So early on, you're not supposed to call rear guards. I like that to an extent because a lot of the cards for the Earnest Scouts are, I don't remember if they're all on place, but like the whole point of the deck is to call down rear guards for the grade 3, and since you don't want your pieces dying, I guess it's a good thing that you get a benefit off of not calling them early. So that's a good card, I guess. And then our grade 3 is Earnest Scout Leader Clarissa. 13k base, grade 3, Twin Drive Persona Ride. Auto when it's placed on van by riding from Accurate Interval. Counterblast 1, search your deck for 1. Aim to be the strongest idol. Reveal it, put it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. Auto when on van, when this unit attack hits, draw a card. Choose one of your rear guards with Earnest Scout in its card name, and it gets +5. So that doesn't sound all that good, honestly. Like, just getting a draw. I mean, yeah, you get to search for something called to aim to be the strongest idol, but without that, it kind of seems like it's worthless, and it's only on an on ride by riding from the grade 2. So Persona Ride doesn't give you any extra benefits besides, you know, the 10k and all that. And the draw, yeah, it has to hit, but it can hit anything in 5k. Thing is, I feel like they're hiding something. Maybe this order will reveal it. Aim to be the strongest idol. Grade 3 normal order. Play if you have 5 or more Earnest Scouts with different card names. So what you're supposed to do is use these 2, search your deck for 2 of them, and then wait the next turns. Call down 2. This makes 3. You don't have to have rear guards. It has to be 5 or more units. So all you need is 2 more, and then you can activate this. Until end of turn, all of units with Earnest Scout on their card names get +5. So that's already good. And if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, choose one of your Earnest Scout Leader Clarissa, and it gets Continuous Van. When this unit would attack, choose 3 of your opponent's Vanguard or rear guards, and this unit battles all the chosen circles. So let's just say this. That's really good. That is just really good because that one is a brawler. So first off, this is just brawlers all over again. But that effect is really good because since this is an on hit, if they take all of those, I mean, they're probably going to take 2 of them. I don't think people that use Vermilion or like brawler skills, people tend to take the rear guards because it's more fucking important to guard the Vanguard at this point. You might be able to get back your rear guards. Unless it's a mirror match, then I would say, yeah, try to defend the rear guards with your life. But, you know, that's really good because automatically it's a 10k to 1 unit or 5k to 2 units, and then you draw 2 because it's free. That's amazing. My only problem with this, it is so focused on the basis of the order, and we can't search out orders unless you count the song grade 1s, but in this deck, I think you kind of want the searchers, and plus you have to like use specific lines for those, and pretty much you also have to search out songs, not these. Like, if Clarissa just said, when ridden on top of, I think that would be better in the sense that, because there are cards in this deck that can search for Persona Ride, I feel like that would have been a better replacement for this. Or maybe something else like, at the start of your turn, if so-and-so is in Soul, or like if you have certain number of rear guards with different card names, Counterblast 1, search for the order. Either way, I think this is good, but I do think it needs that extra oomph because this is just kind of a vanilla without it, and while Persona Riding is a thing, it's just basically the most vanilla deck out there, because once you get your play done, if you don't have this, it's just Persona Ride, and we might as well be playing old Vanguard with like slightly tampered rules. So I do find it interesting, but if we can get an order searcher, like that isn't just Clarissa, I think we'd be good. Either way, that's it for today's reveals. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Sorry it came out later. It's going to keep coming out later because I just started back up school and the bus always comes so fucking late in the day. So I'm sorry, but this is just the time it's going to have to be now. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, donate to the Patreon, follow the Twitch, join the Discord, and go check out Thera. And don't forget to stand up.